Disclaimer. This build is the safest Dark Pact caster that can roll through endgame. It was made in Standard League, but you can definitely do a League based / cheaper version and still achieve great damage / survivability. We scale life, mana, regen, damage and use critical strikes defensively. We utilize a few build enabling uniques in order to bring it all together and scale more damage on jewels. This build is far from being budget friendly, but I'm here to show you the best builds in-game, without exceptions. That doesn't mean it's not working properly with a budget friendly gear. Recommendations for that and all kinds of questions are and will be answered in a specific thread by Ahfack and me on the PoE forum or in the comment section of this video. Without further ado, lean back, relax and let's get started. Content Overview. This build guide contains build showcase, content overview, equipment, gems, jewels, flasks, skill tree, Ascendancy points, Pantheon powers and Bandit choice. Equipment. Helmet. Rare helmet. A rare armor based helmet with tons of life and resistances is what you want. Throw a 44 mana craft on there if you have an open prefix. As mentioned previously, we utilize a lot of uniques, therefore making life and resistances on the few rares we actually wear very important. The Dark Pact damage enchant is best for us, but you could also use Dark Pact cast speed, Flame Dash cooldown or Enfeeble curse effect. Mainhand. Ahpack's Rage. Ahpack's Rage is great for this build. We concentrate on X to Y damage over spam / spell IO type builds. Around 75 flat chaos damage, 30% cast speed and the possibility of getting a Culling Strike inflict corruption is amazing for us. On the face of it, 40% increased mana cost of skills might look like a bad thing, but this actually enables us to get 14% more spell damage and 13% increased cast speed from level 8 Arcane Surge linked to Flame Dash. We are mind over matter, running no auras, so we always have plenty of mana. Offhand. Rare Shield. Any Archon shield with spell damage, life and resistances is best in slot for us, since our build uses a lot of uniques. Because of this, resistances have to get fixed on the few rares we do wear, which can prove difficult if we try to get our hands on chaos damage / cast speed as damage suffixes on other gear. A cast speed suffix is also handy for a damage boost if you can afford it resistance wise, but it should be looked as a luxury and not a necessity. Once you're using many uniques, resistances on a shield is top priority. Body armor. Carcass check. Carcass check is great for us. A bit of life, some resistances, but most importantly area of effect. And it's easy to color for us since we use either 4 blue or 5 blue sockets. A +1 gems 1 is best in slot for us, making Empower support worth using and putting our X to Y damage through the roof. Belly of the Beast would be pretty tanky for us, but getting 4 blue or 5 blue with the desired colors can be a pain. It's less damage / area of effect anyway, but would be more life. Gloves. Atzeris Acuity. Atzeris Acuity is a build enabling unique for us. Since we don't utilize Pact, the critical strikes we do achieve immediately fills our life and mana up to full, since our X to Y damage is so high. They are not needed for leveling / doing normal maps, but they are definitely needed for any endgame content like Guardians / Shaper or face tanking. Commandment of Light enchant is great for us since it casts Consecrated Ground. Consecrated Ground gives us 6% life regeneration, which is very helpful when standing our ground against bosses. Belt. Belt of the Deceiver. Belt of the Deceiver is the best choice for us because there are very few ways to boost our damage from a belt. Intimidate is a debuff that causes our enemies to take 10% increased damage. It also has life, strength, some useful all resistances and 30% reduced extra damage from critical strikes. The reduced critical damage taking is really good in combination with Enfeeble for us, considering the only way we really die is one-shots. The flow untethered with an area of effect corruption is pretty nice as well, providing us with an increase to our cast speed, life recovery rate, and giving us a nice speedy buff for our entire party is also a good option if you feel tanky enough already. Boots. Kaom's Roots. Kaom's Roots gives us stun immunity, freeze / chill immunity, temporal chains immunity and a great amount of life. The 2% life / mana regeneration enchant is the best enchant for us, followed by the 120% increased critical strike chance if you haven't crit recently. If you do not like wearing Kaom's Roots while leveling, you could pick Rite of Ruin on Ascendancy and wear rare boots. However, I really prefer Kaom's roots. Amulet. Rare Amulet. A Chaos damage, Essence of Envy crafted life amulet is what you want. Let the other affixes fill in any stats, resistances, mana or critical strike chance holes you might have in your build. If you have a free prefix, a 20% armor roll is useful as well. Rings. Rare Rings. Chaos damage, Essence of Envy crafted coil rings are best in slot for us here. Life and mana should be the main priorities on your prefixes, followed by a 20% armor craft. For your suffixes, cast speed, dexterity or any other resistances you might need are what you want here. We need 96 dexterity in order to equip Carcass Jack, and we really don't get any dexterity from the skill tree. This makes 55 dexterity on one ring GG, while the other one should fill in your resistances. Gems. In our helmet we will socket Enfeeble, cast when damage taken support, Immortal Call and increased duration support. This is a spot for some defensive utility. Of course, the usual Immortal Call / increased duration support combined with Enfeeble being a great curse for us. Enfeeble also benefits from increased duration support. In our main hand we will socket Flame Dash, Arcane Surge support and faster casting support. Since we use a wand as our main weapon, Flame Dash will be our movement skill for dodging big hits. We link it with faster casting support for obvious reasons and Arcane Surge support level 8 in order to get 14% more spell damage and 13% increased cast speed for our Dark Pact. This doesn't work with Lightning Warp because less duration support / Swift Affliction support that we would support Lightning Warp with makes our Arcane Surge less than 1 second. We are bound to Flame Dash because of this, but it's definitely worth it. In our main hand for mapping we will socket Shield Charge, faster attack support and Culling Strike support. Bright Beak. This will be a general mapping movement skill to allow you to breathe through the maps. Culling Strike with quality gives us even more attack speed. You could also use Fortify support in place of Culling Strike if you need to feel a bit more tanky at the cost of clear speed. Overall, I think Bright Beak does the best job clearing since it's the fastest one-handed weapon and helps us cover a bit of our fire / lightning resistance as well for our weapon swap. In our offhand we will socket Wither, Spell Totem support and faster casting support. Our Wither totem for single target / bosses. It's also really handy to set out before you pop breaches or essences. I like the Arcane Wither MTX. The light blue is really easy to see in maps and helps to guide where to attack when there is a lot going on in the map or you're sleepy. For mapping, a rare spell damage life shield with the remaining resistances we need. Nothing too expensive as it just needs to be good enough to help clear. If you need serious damage for breaches / bosses, you can always swap right back to your Ahpepp's Rage. A free suffix spot on the shield in order to craft 30 dexterity is useful for us because it helps us equip high level faster attack support for speedy clearing. In our gloves we will socket cast when damage taken support, Firestorm, power charge on critical support and increase critical strike support. This is great, free way of sustaining power charges to up our crit with zero investment. Blade Vortex will also work, but requires higher dexterity in order to use and only hits enemies close by. Firestorm will cast on an enemy almost all the way across the screen and will continue to hit them as they move around and continue to strike you. It also leeches a small amount for us which can add to our life / mana pool consistently. In our body armor we will socket Dark Pact, Controlled Destruction support, added Chaos damage support, Void Manipulation support, increased area of effect support and Empower support. I use a high level Empower support in my +1 Carcass Jack. While leveling, Spell Echo is nice but it makes your life go down much quicker, so use your best judgment there. For leveling / non-min maxed version with equities, if you feel like you're not leeching / critting enough, you will socket Dark Pact, increased critical strike support, added Chaos damage support, Void Manipulation support, increased area of effect support and Spell Echo support. I swap area of effect support for concentrated effect support for most bosses or map mods with enemies have plus chaos resistance. If you're using a 5-link chest, take out area of effect support / concentrated effect support. Jewels. Jewels are very important for this build. Because we are mind over matter and don't use any auras, a clear mind jewel is best in slot for us. Up to 60% spell damage and 30% mana regeneration is GG. Later on, try to get a well rolled one with cannot be silenced corruption for endgame mapping. Rare jewels should have either all damage mods or life plus damage mods. The damage mods should be prioritized as following: increased spell damage while holding a shield, increased chaos damage, increased cast speed while holding a shield, increased spell damage, increased area damage, and increased cast speed. Flasks. Atziri's Promise. Atziri's Promise is pretty useful to kick in some extra leech for us. Roll doesn't matter, all that matters is the 2% chaos damage leeched. If you feel like you don't need to use this flask, use an overflowing chalice or a magic sulfur flask. Silver flask is also pretty handy if you want to use it. Hybrid Flask. A panicked hybrid flask is very useful if you take a heavy hit that brings you down to low life. If a hit took you down to low life, it more than likely took you down to low mana as well. This will give you instant recovery of both life and mana in a pinch. Diamond Flask. We use our Diamond Flask defensively to help kick in more crit for instant leech when fighting bosses, breaches, etc. I found carrying 2 to be very useful during boss fights, or you could replace one with a Silver Flask for mapping. Quicksilver Flask. A Quicksilver Flask is useful in helping with our mobility and clear speed. A nicely rolled Quicksilver Flask of Adrenaline is what you want in order to achieve this. Skill Tree. A detailed skill tree plan, leveling advices and gear choice while leveling is listed in Ahfack thread on the official Path of Exile forum. Links are given in the description below. Ascendancy points. As our Ascendancy points we're gonna take Pain Reaver, Cloaked in Savagery, Crave the Slaughter and Aspect of Carnage. Pantheon powers. As our Pantheon powers we're gonna take Soul of Solaris as Major God for boss fights like Guardians/Shaper due to reduced physical damage reduction and less area damage from hits. If you're mapping, take Soul of Lunaris for additional physical damage reduction for each nearby enemy and increased movement speed. On both sides we're gonna take Soul of Tukohama for a nice damage reduction while stationary. Bandit choice. We are truly evil, so we don't wanna make friends. Kill them all. Note: if you have any questions regarding the build such as leveling advices, budget recommendations, more gameplay footage, insert random question here, visit the written guide on the PoE forum and or visit Ahfack's YouTube channel, links are in the description below. Thanks for watching my video. I would greatly appreciate your support with a simple like on the video, your thoughts and feelings about the video and the content itself in a comment. On top of that, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to see more videos in the future. It's totally free, so become a member of our great community. A big thanks to Ahfack for creating the guide and providing me with the footage for our project. You can find all kinds of God mode PoE on his YouTube channel, so check it out. Thanks for watching, take care and have a great day.